What's up, everybody? How we doing? How we feeling? It's Tuesday. As you can see, my voice is not the greatest today, so we'll try our best. I won't be live too long, but we got to break down these coaching changes today. And yeah, I was under the weather this weekend, but we're here. We're going to talk to you about the new 49er coaches. Yes, I'm wearing a Warriors hat. Big game today. Warriors are killing it. My boy Jimmy Butler really changing the tone for the Warriors. But hey, it doesn't matter. I can wear a Warriors hat, although we're talking about Niners. But let's get into it. The 49ers made their coaching announcements for the 2025 season. I appreciate you, Claudia. I hope I feel better too. I was bad this weekend. I was able to go to work today, but it was definitely not easy. But yeah, let's talk about their coaching changes. Obviously, we know we also know that Robert Salah was the defensive coordinator, but what other changes did they make? Today, they officially announced that Klay Kubiak is their new offensive coordinator. They went through a lot of, interviews to fulfill the, minority Rooney rule. So they went and did all that stuff. But today they officially said Klay Kubiak is the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. What does that mean? Kyle Shanahan's probably still going to be calling plays, but it gives him another guy to help him out, make game plans, to figure out what kind of play designs to kind of go into and study film with them. I think it just takes pressure off of Kyle. Now, again, he's not going to call plays, but I think he's going to very much help Kyle and be a little bit more creative. So I like Klay Kubiak being the offensive coordinator. He gets a little bit of a bump in salary, I'm sure, but I think it's going to take some pressure off of Kyle's plate. Although he'll still be calling, I just definitely think it gives him a little bit more creativity and assistance out there. And, last year he let Klay Kubiak be the play caller for certain games. Now, they were pretty much out of the running, but I think Kyle was really trying to gauge and see how good Klay Kubiak could call a game. And he, called one or two games last year, and it wasn't horrible in terms of their offensive production. I mean, last year was an abysmal year overall. So I think this will help Kyle Shanahan in the long run. So now the next big coaching change was Mick Lombardi. He is now the 49ers quarterbacks coach. This is actually the most surprising news. Let's talk about this. So Mick Lombardi is replacing Brian Griese as the quarterbacks coach, right? And he was previously like an assistant coach, and he used to be just an offensive assistant. He was an offensive assistant for the 49ers. He came on to the 49ers actually many years ago. Then he came back last year as a senior offensive assistant. He went throughout the league. He coached for the Jets, the Patriots, the Raiders. Before he was with the 49ers way back in 2013, but then he left. And now he is being promoted to the quarterbacks coach. We all know Brian Griese was the quarterbacks coach. He turned down many job offers this offseason. The Jets were going to hire him as offensive coordinator and this and that. He turned down those jobs. And according to Matt Mayoko, and if you look at the coaching staff on their website, he's not even listed. Brian Griese is not on the coaching staff. It's kind of crazy. So I don't know what happened to him. I'm sure they're going to ask John Lynch this week. Tomorrow he gets to speak at the combine, and we're going to find out what the hell happened, because it's kind of weird. Brian Griese was the quarterbacks coach. He was requested to be interviewed for all these teams. He turned them down to stay with the Niners, and now he's not on the roster as a coach. Fuck happened? I don't know. So yeah, Brian Griese has been replaced by Mick Lombardi. He used to be the senior offensive assistant, and now he's the quarterbacks coach. And according to the stories, right, all the reports we heard of the last 2 years, Brian Griese was the guy that helped Kyle Shanahan find Brock Purdy. So maybe he's done his job. Maybe he's like, I'm good. You guys have Brock. Pay him. My job is done. I don't know. Who knows what the hell just happened? So I thought that was very interesting that, he's not on their coaching staff anymore. It's actually crazy. I think it is. So we'll see what happens with this story. Now, there were some other big-time promotions. So Ronald Blair, who used to be 49ers interim coach last year, he was part of the, they always let these guys kind of do these interim jobs. A couple years back, they had Deshaun Golson. Last year, Ronald Blair was one of them. He got promoted to special teams quality control coach. This guy was, a great player for the 49ers, unfortunate injuries. He tried to bounce around the league after he got, recovered from injury, but he never was the same as a player. But now he's, getting better as a coach. Last year, again, he was on the team as an interim defensive interim coach. Now he's actually as a special teams quality control coach. I've talked to this guy many times behind the scenes. Really cool guy. His dad, an awesome guy. I talked to his dad a lot. His dad used to be he is a coach as well. So good for him. It runs his family. Good to see Ronald Blair get a little bit of a upgrade in his coaching job and his young coaching job. He just started last year. Gus Bradley was named the assistant head coach of the defense. So we know that he was brought in this offseason as a defensive assistant, but we officially know that he's the assistant head coach of the defense. So you got two head coaches basically running this defense, Robert Salah and Gus Bradley. I thought that's pretty dope. Two really good defensive minds running this defense. I think it's a big improvement from what we had last year, Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley. Now you have Robert Salah and Gus Bradley. Hello. So here's a couple other changes. Colt Anderson is the assistant special teams coach. Ray Brown, he's the defensive backs coach. Chris Forrester, he's been the offensive line coach for years on this team. I think since 2015. Last year, he was like the run game coordinator. He got promoted. Chris Forrester got promoted to the assistant head coach, and he's the offensive line coach. So he's the assistant head coach and the offensive line coach now. He's been on this team for a very long time. Joe Graves is now the offensive assistant / quarterbacks coach. Patrick Haddigan, chief of staff. Leonard Hankerson, he used to be the wide receivers coach. He's also the wide receivers and passing game specialist. So he has more on his plate. Andrew Hayes Stoker, he's the offensive assistant and he's a wide receivers coach. So there's two wide receiver coaches. Of course, Clay Kubiak, we mentioned, is the offensive coordinator. Mick Lombardi, quarterbacks coach. This one right here, the Nepo baby, Jake Lynch. This is John Lynch's son. Jake Lynch has been named the defensive quality control coach. He is now on his dad's staff. John Lynch and his son will be on the same coaching the Niners, GMing the Niners. Pretty cool that he has his son as his defensive quality control coach. I mean, a lot of people online are saying he's a Nepo baby. That's pretty funny, but here it is. Jake Lynch, future defensive coordinator in the NFL probably because of his dad. So those are the big changes. Greg Scruggs, assistant defensive line coach, and Jacob Webster is the offensive quality control coach. So Jake Lynch is a defensive quality control coach, and Jacob Webster is the offensive quality control coach. So those are your changes. Again, the biggest ones are Mick Lombardi taking over as the quarterbacks coach, Clay Kubiak taking over as the offensive coordinator, and honestly, Gus Bradley becoming the defensive assistant or the assistant defensive coach is pretty big to me. And then you get the Nepo baby, Jake Lynch. I love it. I think it's good. It really shows you that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have put in a lot of effort to change this staff and move in the right direction. They got rid of Brian Schneider. They got rid of, a lot of bad coaches. And they, brought in some new coaches, some better coaches. We all know Robert Salah is your defense coordinator. We all know that Brant Boyer is your special teams coach, coordinator. They didn't put those on their staff files on the post there. They didn't, because these are new coaching, right, changes. So they didn't have to put Robert Salah. We knew that. They officially said he's the DC. Brant Boyer, he's our special teams coordinator. But these were new changes that hadn't been announced yet. KJ Wright, I don't see him on the list. Again, it could be that he's still on the team, but maybe he didn't change anything. So KJ Wright was a special teams, or he was a quality control coach. So maybe he's still a quality control coach. Chris Kasurik, he was a defensive line coach. He's still a defensive line coach. There was no change in Chris Kasurik. There's no change in KJ Wright. So I think they didn't list them on this update because they're still the same position as they were. So again, these are new coaching position changes. So that's why you may not see KJ Wright. You may not see Robert Salah. We knew that stuff. Like we knew their role. So I think that's pretty much what this update was from the 49ers. But again, we'll see. John Lynch will address the media tomorrow. So we'll see. MSQ says no live tonight with Larry. I don't know. We'll see. I want to, but I don't think I could go for like as long as Larry wants to usually go. I haven't messaged him yet. I'm going to text him. I sound sick. Yeah, I've been sick since the weekend, man. But I had to come on live and talk about these coaching changes. So, here we are. That's pretty much it, right, Jake? I think those are the big updates, right? Jake Lynch, pretty cool to see that, right? Clay Kubiak, Mick Lombardi, and Gus Bradley, I think were the big notable ones. There's a few other ones that we mentioned, but nothing too crazy. There's some rumors out there. I'll bring these up real quick, and then I'll probably bounce out. As you know, yesterday, the 49ers, they re-signed Ben Barch to a one-year deal. We saw this yesterday. He has the potential to maybe start at left guard. They might not be able to return Aaron Banks because his price is going to be a little too much in free agency. So Ben Barch has a good chance of becoming a starting left guard for the 49ers. He was pretty good last year when he was able to play. The only problem is I saw a lot of people going, oh, yeah, how big dub. Oh, Ben Barch, great. I thought it was a good signing, but he's very much dealt with injuries throughout his career. I know he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but he hasn't had opportunities because of the injury. So this is a guy that needs to stay healthy if he wants to really catch on and get a big roster. He is good. The problem is he's just always injured. So Ben Barch, one-year deal. It's very low risk, high reward type thing. I like the guy. I hope he can come in and compete and get that starting role because I think he is a good guard. But the problem is, can he stay healthy? So a couple more things here. We got some rumors for today. Obviously, we all heard this one today. Brandon Ayuk. Apparently, there's teams that are poking around to see if the 49ers are trading Brandon Ayuk. Last year, he was a big target in, the trade talks. He signed a big contract. He got a big injury now. So who knows what the hell is going to happen with Brandon Ayuk? When's he even going to return? So I don't even know what the market looks like, but there are teams that are at least looking into this potentially to see if they can maybe take Ayuk off of the 49ers, but there's a big cap hit. There's so many logistics in this that just doesn't make sense for the 49ers or another team to trade for Brandon Ayuk. But as we know right now, according to Deanna Rossini, teams are looking and engaging the interest of the 49ers in a potential trade for Brandon Ayuk. But according to this report, there are no indications the team is willing to move him. So we'll see. Maybe it's a lot of nothing. It's a lot of smoke. You know how the offseason is. There's a lot of random reports and news and information that sometimes you take with a grain of salt. So we'll see. But again, this was interesting today that teams are, trying to gauge interest to see if the 49ers would trade Brandon Ayuk. But again, if he is on the market, what would they get for him, with the injury? If you unload him, you definitely need to go sign some more wide receivers. So I don't know. I think the 49ers definitely are going to want to try to stay pat with Brandon Ayuk. They gave him a lot of money last year, and you got to see what, you get in terms of Brandon Ayuk. It's an unfortunate situation. He's still young. He's still in the prime of his career. Maybe he'll come back and he can really turn it around. But I don't know. If a team gives him a lot of, a big offer that they're like, oh, wow, we didn't think we could get that much, maybe the 49ers look into it. So stop talking. I need to stop. Let me do a couple more questions. Let's see. What do you expect John Lynch to say about Debo Ayuk, including Kittle and Brock? He's going to say due diligence. We love these players. He's going to say the same things he always says. I don't think he's going to say anything groundbreaking. I do think he'll address the Debo situation and hopefully clear that up. I think he's definitely going to say, yeah, we have explored trades. I think he'll at least say that. Now, if he says something different, then everybody's going to be shook tomorrow. So I hope he at least keeps the status from all the news we've heard clear. But I don't know. Well, I think he'll basically shut down any crazy rumors that aren't true. I think he's going to say we've been working diligently to extend Brock Purdy. I'm sure he'll say that. But otherwise, I think I really want to know what the hell he's going to say about, Debo Samuel. I think we all do. And then we want to kind of maybe gauge what he says about some of the other players out there, right? We've heard about Joey Bosa, Max Crosby, et cetera, et cetera. I do think he'll say, oh, well, due diligence. The 49ers always looking to improve the roster. I think that's what he'll say. He likes to take the safe way out. So we'll see. I also want to hear what he says about Dre Greenlaw. That'll be interesting, but I don't know if he'll give us a lot of concrete information tomorrow because a lot of these things, a lot of times during the combine, it's a lot of skirting around. But there's been a lot of changes for the 49ers this offseason. So, and there's still more to come. So I think he's got a lot to address. Robert Salah, these coaches, right? And then Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga. There's a lot of free agents. We'll see what he addresses. But in any case, you guys have a good rest of your day. I don't know if I'll be live with Larry tonight. I got to rest the voice, but if I am, I'll see you, and I probably won't talk much. But you guys have a good rest of your day. And yeah, I'm shocked about Griese as well, media. We'll hear more information as things move along. You guys have a good rest of your day, and go Niners.